Maddie, thank you. Meantime, big day at the court. Supreme Court ruling in favor of protecting women's sports, upholding state restrictions on transgender athletes in a 6-3 landmark decision.
But they did block President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship in a 5-4 decision. Justice Kavanaugh did not join the majority's constitutional ruling, but agreed the order could not stand. President Trump responding to the ruling on Truth Social, writing, quote, "The Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, which is too bad for our country, but we can easily make it up in Congress through legislation with the support of the president that has now been determined during this process."
A con law attorney and former member of President Trump's transition team, Mark Smith, joins us now. And Mark, yesterday was all about analyzing the decision. Today is a new day. We want to know what happens now. To the president's point in the Truth Social that Carly read, how easy, his words, will it be for Congress to end birthright citizenship if they decide to take it up in the first place?
Well, right now, Todd, because the Supreme Court has 5 justices, it says you actually have a constitutional right under the 14th Amendment to be a citizen if you're born in the United States, even if you're born to parents that are illegal aliens or you're here for a few days on a tourist visa, you're an American citizen. And that means, as a consequence, Todd, this is really a political issue now. And the question is going to be, will Donald Trump continue border enforcement? Will he increase border enforcement for people that are suspected of engaging in this sort of birthright tourism? This is a big political issue. It's going to be a big issue for the midterms, and an even bigger one in 2028, because whoever controls the White House is going to have a big say on how aggressive you enforce border laws, for example.
Yeah, Tom Homan, to your point, said the Trump administration will triple, quadruple down on investigations into birthright tourism, like you just alluded to. But on that point, could Congress actually ban the birthright tourism part of this without running afoul of what the Supreme Court said? Again, breaking this up into overall birthright citizenship, but the act of birthright tourism like you detailed.
Todd, you're completely correct, right? The only way someone can be an anchor baby or to have to become an American citizen is if the parents have actually come into the United States. If they're stopped by Border Patrol, if they're denied a visa, if they're not able to come into the United States, they're not able to have a child, obviously. So, yeah, so really the only reason why birthright citizenship is an issue, Todd, is because there are people that come to America who many of whom are illegal. They come to America and they have these children, and these children become American citizens. And again, they only are able to have American citizens through birth if they're here. So if Donald Trump ramps up enforcement at the border, then it's not going to be as big of an issue. Now, it's going to be a huge issue if you get a Democrat in the White House that has an open border policy like Joe Biden. That will be a massive issue. Now, because not only are you going to get the immigrants coming in the United States, you also have their children that come to the United States, through birth and the 14th Amendment.
Right. Okay, so the Supreme Court also ruled that states can bar transgender athletes from participating in women's sports, saying such bans do not violate the Constitution's guarantee of equal protection. How do you see this ruling, and also what does this mean for the 27 states that do allow transgender athletes to participate?
Well, what this ruling says is that there's no protection, if you will, for transgender males that want to compete with females in sports. So there's no federal statute that requires states to permit that to occur, nor does the Constitution require that. So really, it turns into a states' right issue as to what states want to do. So if a state says it's perfectly fine for a transgender male to compete with females in sports, there's nothing that prevents that. But what the Supreme Court said, if a state wants to step up and make sure that based on biological sex, the males have to compete with the males, the females have to compete with the males, and it focuses on biological sex and not gender preference or not gender issues, well, then the states are allowed to do that. But ultimately, it's up to what the states want to do on a state-by-state basis.
Yeah, I'm not really celebrating this in Connecticut because I know nothing's going to change in a liberal state like that. But I will say, Clarence Thomas had the line of potentially the year. Quote, "Men and boys with gender dysphoria are not women or girls, even if they believe they are." That encapsulates it all right there. Mark Smith, thank you so much for your insight this morning. We appreciate it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.